Good morning, class. It's good to see you again. This is going to be our 5th week now into our Coivoid online classes instead. So please do bear with me. I'm going to cover information that's going to cover sudden illnesses part 2, which is concluding bites, bee stings, other stings, as well as poisonings then too today. So that being said, I do want you to make sure you have all your past homework sent to me via email. Again, that is Kyle_Fogle@ivcc.edu. You can also choose to send it to me to fog0845@yahoo.com. But again, I'm checking school email all the time, so that's the best way to send that information to me. We will be having a quiz coming up, so that will be an online quiz. I will give you that document. You will submit then a multiple choice document back to me showing your answers, and I will grade that for points for your first 8 exams. So again, that's not till 2 weeks from now, so do bear with us. Last time we covered injuries to the chest, abdomen, and pelvis. We did some wrappings practice, and we also covered those sudden illnesses like diabetes, fainting spells, and things like that. Now, I had some good stuff come out in the homework this past week. I saw a lot of wasps, or bee stings, little things like that, diabetic problems. Jacob said, I think he had a diabetic person that he knew. Let's see, Amanda said that her dad was diabetic number 1, so diabetes 1, that means you're born with it. So yes, very good that she could see what was going on with that. If you'd have maybe times where his sugar was low, give him a little bit of candy, something sweet to drink on, something to help boost his sugar levels so that way his body can start utilizing that more appropriately. Let's see, we had some other people say that they had some bee stings, such as Mira. She said that her dad had a bee sting that swelled really bad. Was it Callie? I think Callie said a spider bite. And then we also had some other ones like Ian with the bee stings to his head. Let's see, Madison's grandpa got bit by a dog, little things like that. The main thing is that, right, we take care of the wound in the first place, clean it, and then go seek medical attention if that person is, one, allergic, right? We contact 911 immediately. If that person's fainting spell or diabetic emergency lasts more than 5 to 10 minutes, it's a good idea to call 911, get some more help. And if you are maybe stung by a bunch of bees, first thing to do is help with the swelling. Either you can put an ice pack on it, make sure the stinger's out obviously, and clean the wound. But if things do worsen, right, so we see swelling, we see swelling of the throat, for instance, that means the person's definitely allergic. They need 911 help immediately. They're gonna need some antibiotics, maybe a steroid, who knows. So let's let the medical professionals handle that. Let's get into the illnesses that I was telling you about, the part 2 now. So that is your homework. Make sure you have completed reading that. I know you replied on that already, which is great. Your following reading will include informations covering substances misuse and abuse, along with heat and cold related illnesses, which are definitely merited here in the Illinois Valley. General care for poisonings, though, we need to figure out what kind of substance it is, the amount of the substance that was ingested or injected or breathed in, whatever it could be, the time that it's been that this substance has been in the person's body, and then we also have to look at the person's size, their weight, their medical condition, as well as age. These are all attributes to determining how well somebody is going to resist whatever poison it is, possibly. We can also ask for clues if that person is unconscious. We can ask bystanders. We can look and check the scene then and be aware of things like unusual odors, if we see flames or smoke, if we have an open or spilled containers, there could be an open medicine cabinet or medicine containers, or there could be overturned plants or damaged plants. These are possible poisonings then too. General care, though, the main thing is that we can remove the person from the source of the poison if the scene is not dangerous. So if it doesn't cause you harm, let's go ahead and move that person out of that situation. This would be a good situation, right, to put on our gloves, because if that person does have any of that poison or chemical on them, that way we are keeping ourselves safe in that meantime then too. We want to make sure, though, that the person is breathing and that they're conscious. Now, if they are unconscious, not breathing, we have to give CPR. We have contacted 911. If that person is unconscious and breathing still, we want to make sure we've called 911 as well. Other things then too, okay? With those life-threatening conditions, give as much care as we can possibly do safely. So that means come on, get your butt out of there. We are not going beyond our scope of practice, and we are trying to give them the best chance of survival, of course, in the meantime for 911 to arrive. While we're asking questions of the surrounding persons or the person themselves, we can always look at the containers of that substance. Look for warnings. Sometimes they have remedies on there of what to do. Contact a medical professional if ingested, or call the National Poison Control Center. So this is one good number to make sure you have programmed in your cell phones right now. So go ahead and make a new contact. I just labeled it PCC in my phone, PCC, Poison Control Center. And that phone number is 1-800-222-1222. Real easy. Give them a call, follow the directions. They usually help you 9 times out of 10. Over 70% of these can definitely be handled on the phone. Now, there are a few rare ones where we're going to need further medical advice or even possibly having 911 come pick up that person to take care of those problems. Right? If you get bit by a rabid dog, right, you're not going to be able to have that fixed on the phone. You're going to need to take that person to the hospital, get the wound cleaned. They'll probably have to be on an antibiotic as well. And they're going to keep monitoring that person. They don't want them to develop any symptoms. They might have a tetanus shot. They might do a rabies shot. Now, if that poisoning cannot be controlled, right, in that meantime, we call 911. Pretty easy. Those reasons why we call 911 immediately is if somebody's maybe vomiting blood, or there's blood coming out of the urine or stool. If they're acting very aggressive or violent, good reason to call 911 because you don't want to get yourself hurt too, right? The person's having seizures, maybe severe headache or slurred speech going on. They could have very persistent chest pain and pressure, trouble breathing, and then pressure in the abdomen, right? We're looking at food poisoning even. Severe pain in the abdomen, good reason to possibly call 911. We have 4 major types of poisonings that are going on here. The first one is ingestion, then we have inhalation, we have absorption, and then we also have ingestion. Injection, I'm sorry. So let's go with the first one, ingestion. Ingest means we swallow something, we drink it. It goes down into our mouth, through our esophagus, into our stomach. So if we swallowed something like this could be like a food, it could be a drug, it could be a medication that is maybe taken in error, and it could even be some kind of household item. Now we're looking at little children especially, right? We have medicine cabinets, we have maybe cleaning supplies in cabinets that are low. We want to make sure we keep these away from kids at all costs. So safety is first and primary concern. If we can eliminate that in the first place, that risk, then we're not going to have those problems. Common food poisonings could be from bacteria, and they could also be from chemicals maybe added to the food. So we got to look at those possibilities. Ingestion poisonings, for the signals, we're looking at nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. We're looking at chest pain or abdominal pain. We're looking at trouble breathing and sweating. Their level of consciousness could be changed. They could be seizing. They could have a severe headache or dizzy. They could be very weak. Their pupils could be irregular size. They could be very dilated by chance. Or pinhole. They could have burning or tearing eyes then too. And look at their lips sometimes. Sometimes their lips could be discolored. Even their tongue or around their mouth could be discolored from ingesting something. For food poisoning, right? I saw in here a lot of you had some food poisoning issues every once in a while, but after a day or two, you seem to be okay. The main thing is that we're worried about if somebody's vomiting or having diarrhea, they're getting dehydrated, and dehydration is always a very bad concern. We want to make sure people are keeping their fluid intake up, so that way they're not possibly having dehydration symptoms, like they can go into technically muscle cramps, right? That's the first stage, and they could be going unconscious even too from I know it's not hot maybe, but just dehydration in general could worsen symptoms to other complications. But again, food poisoning, we're looking at nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, fever, and dehydration. General care though, we can always call that Poison Control Center, so 1-800-222-1222. If we don't know what it is, maybe the person vomited, we want to keep that, I know it's weird, but keep that vomit if we can. If we can scoop some of it up and put it in a baggie or something like that to take with them to the hospital, they might be able to analyze that and figure out what substance they ingested. We do not induce vomiting unless we are advised to. So if we're not advised to induce vomiting, we never stick our finger in somebody's mouth or try to make them vomit. We want to make sure that a medical professional has told us to do so if we are going to choose that course of action. If the person is having seizures, right, we do not, of course, induce vomiting. They could choke on that. If the woman's pregnant, we wouldn't want to do that. It's going to cause, pressure on the fetus, possibly. If it's something corrosive, that if it comes back up, it's going to cause even more harm, right? That's a good choice to actually take them to the hospital, have their stomach pumped instead. Or if they have a heart disease, we would never want to induce vomiting. Of course, they're increasing their blood pressure or possibly giving more complications than what's necessary. So call 911. Get help on their way. For inhalation, breathing in things. This could be gas fumes or other gases, such as carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. Remember, carbon dioxide is from smoke, so inhalation from smoke. Chlorine gases, right? You're working at a pool and you have a bunch of chlorine, and breathing that in, that can be very strong to some people. Ammonia, too. I mean, if you ever look at your cleaning supplies, a lot of them have ammonia in them. They're very strong odors, but pure ammonium, that could knock you on your butt. Sulfur is also one. We're looking at nitrous oxide as something that could be a poisoning. Chloroform, you'll be passed out, so you won't even know. Watch that movie Ace Ventura when he's trying to gather all the football players together. Pretty funny scene with the chloroform. Dry cleaning solvents can sometimes cause these problems. Fire extinguisher gases, maybe a buildup of that, so make sure if you are operating one, open doors, right? Get the airflow in there. Other industrial gases and hydrogen sulfide, these are all things that could possibly be causing harm from breathing them in. But main thing, right, we can see that sometimes the substance around the mouth or nose, if it's been deliberately inhaled. Sometimes the person can look pale or bluish in color from carbon monoxide poisoning. They could have severe trouble breathing, chest pain, very fast heart rate than normal, or breathing that's much faster than normal. They could be vomiting, maybe nauseous. They could have severe headaches and confusion. They could be coughing excessively, seizing, mental altered state. So we got to look at all these possibilities. But safety precautions, right? Toxic fumes may or may not have an odor, so we may not smell them at all. We might not have any clue that they're there. That's why if you suspect any of these, it's best case practice to call 911, because they're going to go ahead and send the correct medical team there to take care of things. And they might even contact something like the fire department to take care of the fire or the gases, or maybe even the electrical company, right? They might have gas lines, so they'll shut those things down, whatever it may be. Do not enter the scene, right? If something's very dangerous, we never want to enter it. We don't want to cause any further harm to ourselves, too. So we call 911, have the right people come to take care of business. For absorbed poisons, these can go through the skin. For instance, plants or chemicals, right? We put lotion on our skin, it's absorbed. Well, same thing with plants. We've heard of nicotine patches, we've heard of medical patches. These things are put on the body to absorb different kinds of medications. Well, sometimes we can overdose on these things, sometimes we can have an adverse reaction to these things, but we're looking more along the lines of things that aren't normal. So chemicals, cleaning chemicals, dry chemicals too. They can burn the skin, burn the body. Plants, right? We're looking at the season where, what's that stuff called? Poison ivy, right? Poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac. They're going to be running rampant pretty soon here. I've already seen some growing, and it's only early April. So if it has 3, let it be, right? Don't touch it. You can get a severe reaction, a very painful rash, or you might have to be on steroids and things like that, get some shots at the doctor's office. So stay away, right? And the other topical medications, they can cause complications. So again, signals, we look for traces of these liquids, powders, chemicals on the person's skin. We can look for burns on the skin, irritation, or red and swollenness areas. These are all commonalities. Blisters that may be oozing and fluid-filled, or a rash. These are very bad situations, and just itchy skin in general. The best thing you can always do with a person who contacts a poison from a plant is to remove any kind of clothing or maybe jewelry that has been infected with that, right? Contacted with the poisonous plant. We want to keep those things clean, right? So we got to get those off the body. And then we want to wash the person for about 20 minutes if we can. That's going to help dilute the poison and rid it off the skin and in the skin. If things do worsen, for instance, there's a severe rash that's weeping with lesions, maybe Maybe it's involved with their face, right? These are situations where we want to contact medical help immediately. For a dry chemical, okay, if somebody gets a dry chemical, for instance, on their arm, we don't want to just go ahead and stick their arm under water and start trying to wash it away, because it's going to cause it to possibly spread around the surface of the skin. The best practice is to have our gloved hands and something like a towel, and we can brush that off as much as possible first, and then rinse that body part under tap water for about 20 minutes again. Cool tap water. We can call 911 in the meantime if it's something severe, and we can get them on their way. Same thing for a wet chemical. We want to go ahead and flush that continuously for about 20 minutes with cool tap water. If it contacts the eyes, right, we want to make sure that we flush those immediately too. So we're going to have to grab that person, we're going to have to guide them to cool tap water and wash that off their face. So again, remember, we want to make sure that we are not affecting the unaffected eye. So if for instance, my left eye is the affected one, we're going to want that eye below the good eye. We'd take our good gloved hand to help the person and cover that eye, so that way we guarantee no water rushes into there. We can also, if it's affecting both eyes, we can take our hand and cover the nose. And if we're washing water over the eyes, they can still breathe no problem, and it's not getting into their inner surfaces. For injected poisons, okay, this could be from a hypodermic needle. This could be from a bite or a sting then too, from an animal or creature. So we're looking at insects, spiders, right, really common this time of year especially. Aquatic life, say you're on spring break or something, or that. Animal bites, right, those are common. Dogs, cats. Cat bites can be very dangerous. Your hand can actually swell up to 3 times its size very quickly. You could lose a hand. So it's very important to get those cleaned and go to a medical professional and get an antibiotic, because those can be very detrimental. In fact, my aunt, she's a dog groomer, cat groomer down in Monunk, and she got bit 2 times this past year by a cat, and each time she had to go get some antibiotics and steroids to make sure that she did not actually contract that, whatever it was in it. Anyway, the bacteria would actually kill or destroy her tissue. So she could have lost her hand a couple times. Thank God she went to the doctor right away and got care for that. So she's okay. So again, cat bites can be very bad. Snake bites, we have those every once in a while. Drugs, those are things that can possibly be injected. And then even misuse of certain medications can be possibilities. I'm going to go ahead and start another video now, just because this is a good time, and I want to keep them short and sweet, so that way they load quickly and correctly. So there's part 1. We'll go to part 2 next. Thank you.